earlier in the year, Sony came under fire because there was leaked footage showing a Sony employee engaging in dialogue with an AI version of Aloy, the main character of Horizon, and where the employee would ask specific questions to the AI, such as "How are you?" and the character would respond before sharing some more lore about the Horizon series. And this obviously raised a few eyebrows, considering Aloy is a character that grows up in a post apocalyptic setting that's overrun by AI. And so then the voice actress for Aloy, Ashley Burch, actually put out a statement on this, and where she released a video following it, stating that the Gorilla, the developers of the Horizon game series, had been in contact with her and said that the demo didn't reflect anything that was actively in development over at the company. And she added that Sony didn't that when seeing the demo, Sony didn't have any words. Wow, Sony didn't use any of her performance for it. And then Eurogamer reached out to her in an interview and asked her about how she would feel if AI was used in the next Horizon game. And she had quite a bit to say about it, and I'll have a link to the Eurogamer article in the description below the video. But so as well as the channel that this gameplay footage is from, since I couldn't get my own recorded for some technical reason. I don't know, it just wasn't working for me. Get it figured out later. But anyways, the things I actually had to say were, and I'm gonna move the microphone closer to me before I get into that. The words she had to say were, for me, I think that AI as a tool to make things easier on developers would be a great thing. Like I think I've heard someone say before something like, "Oh, if we use artificial intelligence to help with cleanup between the mocap stage and importing it into the actual game engine, that could be amazing." So things that help streamline the development process and help make people's jobs easier, I think is great. That being said, in terms of it, as if someone asked me, "Can we make a replica of you that players could interact with ad nauseum?" She would really have to know how specifically the developer was going, or be it Gorilla or any developer really in the industry, was going to protect her against saying something awful. And that's, of course, in reference to the deal Epic Games got in some trouble for also earlier in the year, where they used AI. So, to give some background, prior to the Kenobi series, James Earl Jones had given permission to use an AI version of the likeness of his voice for roles. So obviously, Darth Vader as an AI voice was gonna come under contention, and then at least at some point, and then lo and behold, Epic Games uses AI to recreate James Earl Jones's voice for Darth Vader, and then that caused Fortnite's Darth Vader to have things like the Sith Lord cussing, which yeah, let the cringe flow through you there. But anyways, Burch. Long story short is Burch believes AI and the use of AI needs to be a conversation with everybody involved, stating that it's such a new technology and so it's difficult to know what applications the developers would want to use it for. And then, along with adding, Gorilla really cares about the performance in its games, and I think a universe where Gorilla just replaces every single actor they have with a robot is not going to happen. And then, now, that's good for Gorilla's part, but Ashley Burch then also kind of alluded to some of the ongoings of the gaming industry as a whole, saying that there are some studios that want to use AI to generate what they want and when they want. And then stating also that it becomes a conversation of what do you want to use this for? What are you trying to get out of this technology? Are you trying to replace performances? Or are you trying to streamline your process or trying to find out in the pre production phase how things would sound in my voice? And it becomes a use case thing for her. And then Burch also additionally wants others to get the chances she did when she was starting out as an actor in the video game industry. Wanting others to have the same experience she had, and wants people to say, with their hearts out that they want to be an actor in the video game industry and then develop their skills and do that. And she also adds that a lot of those characters that I cut my teeth on, like doing callouts and MOBA, those things are at the risk of being replaced by other studios. I think the kind of work is essential for people to be A, able to make rent, and then B, be able to hone it in their craft and get better. It's important to me that actors continue to have the opportunity to act, which is what she closed with, and then she appreciates that as a tool developers can use, AI can have its place. Now, in terms of my own thoughts on this, I'm in full agreement. I'm in full agreement with her. Like, I don't really think that's too outlandish of an opinion. I mean, AI from even back when things like ChatGPT first launched and the use of AI became more and more of a topic of conversation, I was always of the belief that, and it's kind of like it's like the tweet, of like, oh, scientists are trying to recreate dinosaurs, and then some guy replies with, we literally have a series of movies that says why it's a bad idea. It's kind of similar to that. We have a bunch of media as to why the use of AI can be a very terrible thing if it goes too far. And there are definitely people out there that want to that want to push the boundaries of AI research and the use of AI constantly. For me, AI, like Ashley Burch was saying, AI needs to be a tool that's used in assistance of the creative process, and rather than take over it entirely and replace, voice actors' roles with just AI, or just end up with cheap imitations of what the real thing could be. And it's the same deal with, just art in general. More and more people use AI for art as opposed to paying an artist to make their own work, which, the more it gets away with, the more every industry is going to suffer. And it's not just, the art. It's not just the arts, video games, movies, handmade handmade art, like paintings, the whole regard. It's a lot of other things. It could be a lot of other things too. A lot of work industries in general, have been trying to figure out what all they can do with AI. And there really needs to be some protections in there specifically for employees that safeguard them from being replaced with AI. And I really hope that at some point in the future that gets added if places haven't added that in already. But, with that being said, I'll have a link to the Eurogamer article in the description below, like I said, as well as the description to the footage the channel for the footage that's being used here. And yeah, I'm in full agreement with Ashley Burch on this one. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye.